There is no summit, there is no end. There is only the weight and the stone and the hill. It is the punishment of the eternal grind where the only mercy is the rhythm of the work itself. Hey guys, tonight we descend into the dark. We will walk with the king of Corinth and his stone. We will witness Atlas holding the weight of the heavens, and we will suffer with Prometheus on the rock. These are the stories of the quiet places, of the ones who carry the burden while the world sleeps. So, before the heavy water takes you, like and subscribe, but only if you wish to return to these depths. And let me know in the comments, which of these punishments do you fear the most? Is it the weight or the repetition? Now, let the surface fade. We begin in the deepest part of the earth, in the realm of Hades, where the sun does not shine, and the air is thick with the dust of centuries, and the silence is broken only by the sound of labor. Long before the stone, there was a king. His name was Sisyphus, and he was not a monster, and he was not a beast. He was simply a man who loved life too much. He was the founder of Ephora, which the modern world calls Corinth. He walked the sun-drenched streets, and he watched the ships come into the harbor, and he gathered wealth like a squirrel gathers nuts for a winter that never ends. But Sisyphus carried a fatal flaw. He believed his mind was sharper than the shears of the fates. He believed he could outwit the inevitable end that waits for us all. And when Thanatos, the personification of death, came to claim him, Sisyphus did not tremble. He did not beg. Instead, he invited death in for a drink, and he complimented the craftsmanship of death's chains. And with a quickness of hand that defied the gods, he shackled death himself. And for a time, the world was silent. No one died. Soldiers fell in battle but did not expire, and the old grew older but did not fade, and the natural order of the world began to rot from the inside out. It was a stagnation, a pause in the great breath of the universe. But the gods are jealous of their order. Ares, the god of war, grew bored with battles that had no casualties, and Hades grew lonely in his empty halls. And so the chains were broken, and Sisyphus was taken. Not gently this time. He was dragged down, past the river Styx, past the three-headed hound, down into the Tartarus pits where the light of Olympus never reaches. And there the judges waited. They did not want to kill him, for he was already dead. They wanted to bind him, to give him a task that would consume his clever mind entirely. They showed him the boulder. It was not a simple rock. It was a piece of the primordial earth, dense and cold and unforgiving. It was rough to the touch, scarred by the geological pressure of 1,000,000 years. And they showed him the hill. It was not a mountain, but a steep, treacherous slope of loose gravel and slick shale. The task was simple. Roll the stone to the top. Once it sits at the summit, the punishment ends. It seemed possible. It seemed like a challenge. And Sisyphus, in his arrogance, stepped forward to the stone. He placed his palms against the granite. It was cold. It sucked the heat from his skin, and he felt the immense gravity of the object. He planted his feet in the dark soil, and he pushed. At first, the stone did not move. It was settled deep in the earth, stubborn and still. But he pushed harder, engaging the muscles of his legs and the sinew of his back, and slowly, with a grinding sound of stone against stone, it began to turn. One rotation, then another. The sound echoed in the quiet cavern of the underworld, a low, rhythmic rumble. And so the journey began. The first 100 yards were manageable. The slope was gentle, and his strength was fresh. He fell into a rhythm, push and step, push and step. He thought of his city, Corinth, and he thought of the sun, and he thought of the clever tricks he had played. He thought that if he just worked hard enough, he would reach the top by midday. He did not know that the hill was cursed. He did not know that the stone was enchanted with a weight that grew heavier the higher he climbed. The air in Tartarus is stagnant. There is no breeze to cool the sweat that began to bead on his forehead. There is only the damp, musty smell of wet earth and iron. As he climbed, the path became steeper. The gravel shifted under his sandals, sliding away, threatening to send him tumbling back down. He had to dig his toes into the dirt, finding leverage where there was none, and the stone began to fight back. It wanted to roll down. Gravity is a patient adversary. It pulls constantly, and it never tires and it never sleeps. His breath came in short, sharp gasps. The rhythm changed. It was no longer a march, it was a wrestle. He leaned his shoulder into the granite, letting his body weight act as a wedge. He closed his eyes. There was nothing to see but the dark and the rock. And in the darkness, the world narrowed down to a single point of focus. There was no past, there was no future. There was only the next step. There was only the friction of skin against stone, and the burning in his thighs, and the absolute necessity of not letting go. And now, we enter the grind. The muscles burn, and the lungs ache, but the body continues. It is a trance. The mind detaches from the pain and floats somewhere above the hill. He pushes, and the stone rolls. It is a heavy, grinding sound, a deep vibration that travels through his arms and into his chest. It is the sound of the earth moving. He creates a pocket of silence in his mind. He does not look up at the summit, for to look up is to invite despair. He looks only at the patch of dirt directly in front of his feet. One step, and then silence, and then another step. The sweat runs down his back, cooling in the stale air, and he becomes part of the machine. He is no longer a king, he is a force. He is a lever. He is the kinetic energy that fights against the static void. Time works differently here. Hours stretch into days, and days bleed into eons. There is no sun to mark the passage of time. There is only the rotation of the boulder. Each turn of the stone is a second. Each slip of the foot is a minute. The sheer physical exertion becomes a blanket. It wraps around the mind, dulling the sharp edges of thought, softening the memories of the surface world. He forgets the color of the sky. He forgets the taste of wine. He knows only the texture of the granite. It is rough here, smooth there, chipped in this corner. He knows the stone better than he ever knew his wife. It is his companion. It is his burden and his purpose and his entire world. As he nears the steep section, the weight doubles. This is the cruelty of the design. The closer you get to the goal, the harder the universe pushes back. His muscles are trembling now. A micro vibration in the fibers of his legs. His heart hammers against his ribs, a drumbeat in the deep silence. He grunts, a low primal sound that is swallowed by the fog. He is so close. He can feel the change in the air pressure. He can sense the leveling of the ground. Just a few more yards, just a few more revolutions of the great weight. He digs his fingers into the cracks of the stone, finding purchase, pulling and pushing simultaneously. The effort is total. There is nothing left in reserve. And in this moment of supreme effort, there is a strange kind of peace. The world is simple. There are no politics. There are no wars. There are no lies. There is only the physics of the push. Force equals mass times acceleration. He is the force. The rock is the mass, and the acceleration is zero. He holds it there, teetering on the edge of movement. His body is a statue of flesh and blood, locked in a battle with the mineral bone of the earth. He breathes in the dust, and he breathes out the pain. He is alive. In the land of the dead, he is the most alive thing there is, because he struggles, because he refuses to let the gravity win. He is the definition of will. And finally, the crest comes into view. The ground begins to flatten, the resistance lessens, just for a fraction of a second. He pushes the stone up over the lip of the ridge. He feels the momentary lightness of success. He straightens his back, the vertebrae popping and realigning. He wipes the sweat from his eyes. He stands on the summit of his own personal mountain. For a heartbeat, he is victorious. He looks out over the gray plains of the underworld. He has done the impossible. He has moved the immovable object. The stone sits there, teetering, balanced on the precipice of relief. The air is still. The labor is done, and he waits, and he breathes, and he watches. But gravity is a law, and laws cannot be broken by sweat alone. The stone teeters. It hesitates for a fraction of a second, a cruel moment of hope, before the weight shifts. It tips, and then the descent begins. It does not roll gently. It crashes. It bounds down the slope that took an eternity to climb, gaining speed with every revolution, crushing the shale and smashing the silence. The sound is deafening, a thunder of granite against the earth, echoing in the hollow chest of the underworld. Sisyphus watches. He does not scream. He does not cry out. He stands at the empty summit, his hands still shaped to the curve of the stone that is no longer there. He watches the work of a lifetime undone in a heartbeat. He watches it roll and roll and roll until it disappears into the dark fog at the bottom of the valley. And then silence returns. This is the hour of consciousness. This is the moment that truly defines the punishment. The push is just labor, but the walk down is the torture. He turns his back on the empty summit and he begins the descent. His legs are trembling from the effort of the climb, but now they must carry him back to the start. The path is loose and treacherous. He slides and he catches himself, and he continues. He has nothing to distract him now. There is no physical strain to drown out his thoughts. There is only the memory of the stone and the knowledge that it is waiting for him. He walks through the dust of his own failure. He breathes in the futility of his existence. He looks at his hands, scarred and gray, and he understands the nature of eternity. It is not a straight line. It is a circle. Why does he go back? The gods did not chain him to the rock. There is no whip at his back. He could sit on the side of the hill and rest and refuse to move. He could let the stone sit in the valley forever, but he does not stop. He walks with a steady, heavy rhythm. Perhaps he goes back because the stone is his purpose. Without the stone, who is he? He is no longer a king. He is no longer a husband. He is simply a force that pushes. The task defines him. The struggle gives him shape. To stop would be to dissolve into the gray mist of the underworld. To stop would be to accept that he is truly dead. And so, he chooses the rock. He chooses the pain. He chooses the absurdity of his fate over the emptiness of doing nothing. He walks, and the dust settles around him, and the silence stretches out. He reaches the valley floor. The air is thicker here, heavier with the weight of the stagnant earth. And there it sits, the boulder. It has not moved an inch. It waits for him like a patient beast, or perhaps like an old friend. It is exactly as he left it, the same cold surface, the same heavy mass. It does not judge him. It does not mock him. It simply exists. Sisyphus approaches it slowly. He circles it once, inspecting the damage from the fall. A chip here, a scratch there, but the core of it is solid. It is eternal. He runs his hand along the rough granite. It is cool to the touch. It grounds him. The anxiety of the walk down fades away. The uncertainty vanishes. There is only the work. The work is simple. The work is honest. The work is waiting. He takes his position. He knows this moment better than his own name. He plants his left foot in the dirt, grinding the heel down to find a solid anchor. He bends his knees, crouching low, compressing his body like a spring. He places his shoulder against the familiar curve of the stone. It fits perfectly. His body has shaped itself to the rock over the eons. The indentation in the granite matches the curve of his muscle. They are two halves of the same whole. He takes a deep breath, inhaling the stale air of the pit. He holds it. He closes his eyes, and he engages the legs. The tension rises. The muscles tighten, and for a moment there is stillness. The potential energy builds, waiting for the release, waiting for the grind to begin again. And he pushes. The inertia breaks. The stone groans, a deep geological sound of protest, and it begins to turn. The cycle restarts. The sorrow of the fall is gone. The despair of the descent is forgotten. There is only the present moment. There is only the friction. There is only the heat building in his shoulders. This is his revolt. The gods wanted to crush him with futility, but he has turned futility into a discipline. He has turned the punishment into a practice. Every step up the hill is a victory. Every rotation of the stone is a defiant act of existence. He does not hope for the summit anymore. He does not hope for the end. He finds his satisfaction in the struggle itself. He is the master of his days, and the rock is his silent student. The rhythm takes over. Push, step, push, step. It is a hypnotic dance. The mind empties of all clutter. There is no room for worry when you are pushing a mountain. There is no room for regret. The weight presses the thoughts out of his head, leaving only a clean, blank silence. It is a meditation of the flesh. The sweat runs into his eyes, but he does not blink. The dust coats his throat, but he does not cough. He is a machine of bone and blood, calibrated to the exact resistance of the stone. And in this repetition, there is a strange kind of comfort. The world makes sense. The rules are clear. Gravity pulls down. He pushes up. It is a binary existence, 0 and 1, stone and man, up and down, forever and ever. Does he remember the sun? Perhaps, in the quiet moments between breaths, he sees a flash of blue sky or the white sails of a ship on the Aegean Sea. But these memories are distant now. They are like dreams from another life. His reality is gray, his reality is hard, and yet he is strong, stronger than he ever was as a mortal king. His spirit has been forged in this dark furnace, tempered by the weight of the impossible. He has become something more than human. He is a titan of endurance. He is the patron saint of the grind. He carries the weight that would crush a lesser soul, and he carries it without complaint. He carries it because it is his to carry. It belongs to him. The rock is his burden, but it is also his anchor to existence. And so, one must imagine Sisyphus happy. Not happy in the way a child is happy, full of laughter and light, but happy in the way a mountain is happy, solid, unshakable, content in his place in the universe. He has accepted the absurd. He has embraced the loop. He knows that the rock will roll down again. He knows he will have to walk back down into the dark. And he accepts it all. He welcomes it, because in that acceptance he finds freedom. The gods cannot hurt him anymore. They have done their worst, and he has survived it. He has integrated it. He has made the punishment his home. The hill is his kingdom, and the stone is his crown. We leave him there, on the side of the hill, pushing against the gravity of the deep earth. His breath is steady, his heart is strong. The stone rolls and rolls and rolls. The sound fades into the distance, becoming a low hum that vibrates in the floor of the world. It is the heartbeat of the underworld. It is the sound of endurance. Sleep now, knowing that the work is being done. The stone is being moved, the burden is being carried. You do not have to carry it tonight. Sisyphus has it. He has it all, and he will not let go. And the cycle continues into the dark, into the quiet, into the rest. The stone rolls down, and the echo fades into the deep earth. But we do not follow it. We leave the king of Corinth to his eternal rhythm, and we climb. We drift upwards, past the limestone caverns, past the roots of the mountains, breaking the surface of the world. We move west, far to the edge of the map, to the place where the ocean falls off into the abyss. Here the air is thin, and the silence is different. It is not the silence of a tomb. It is the silence of tension. It is the quiet of a bowstring pulled back to its breaking point. We stand at the precipice of the world, and here we find the Titan. His name is Atlas, the Endurer, the bearer of the heavens. He was not always a pillar of stone and flesh. Once he was a general. He led the Titans in the great war against the Olympians, marching against Zeus with the fury of the primordial earth. But the war ended. The old gods fell. Cronus was cast into the pit, and the others were bound in chains of adamantine. But for Atlas, Zeus reserved a special cruelty. He did not want to hide Atlas away in the dark. He wanted to make him a monument. He dragged him to the western edge of Gaia, to the Garden of the Hesperides, and he placed upon his shoulders the weight of the celestial sphere, the axis mundi, the pivot point of the universe. Imagine the weight. It is not dead weight, like a stone. It is living weight. It is the mass of every star, and every planet, and every drift of cosmic dust. It is the pressure of the infinite vacuum pressing down on a finite point. When the sky was first placed upon him, his knees buckled. The earth cracked beneath his feet, forming deep fissures in the bedrock. His spine compressed, the vertebrae grinding together like millstones. A scream tore from his throat, but it was swallowed by the wind, and then the shock settled. The muscles locked. The breath caught, and the eternity began. He became the separation. Without him, the sky would crash into the earth, returning the universe to chaos. He is the only thing keeping the crushing embrace of the heavens at bay. Sisyphus has the mercy of movement. He can step, he can adjust his grip, he can wipe the sweat from his brow. Atlas has no such luxury. His punishment is absolute stillness. To move is to risk the collapse of the world. He cannot scratch an itch. He cannot shift his weight from one weary leg to the other. He cannot turn his head to watch the seabirds fly. He is locked in a single, perfect pose of exertion. The lactic acid builds in his shoulders, burning like liquid fire, and then it hardens. Over the centuries, the pain stops being a signal and starts being a state of being. The pain is the environment. He lives inside the cramp. He inhabits the spasm. He is a statue that breathes, a monument that feels every ounce of the burden. And to sharpen the knife of his suffering, he was placed in paradise. Just out of reach of his straining hands lies the Garden of the Hesperides. The air smells of golden apples and sweet nectar and the perfume of eternal spring. He can hear the laughter of the nymphs, the daughters of the evening star. They dance in the twilight, braiding flowers into their hair, drinking from cool streams. They ignore the giant groaning above them. To them, he is just part of the landscape, a mountain that blocks the sun. He watches them with eyes that cannot weep, for his hands are too busy to wipe away the tears. He is close enough to paradise to smell it, but he is anchored to hell by the weight of the sky. It is a loneliness that is absolute. He is the boundary, and boundaries are always alone. His mind had to change. A human mind would shatter under the pressure in minutes. A god's mind might last a year. But Atlas has stood there for eons. He had to shed the parts of himself that desired things. He stopped wishing for rest. He stopped wishing for water. He stopped wishing for the war to start again. He slowly, methodically turned his consciousness into stone. He became the observer. He watches the sun rise in the east, traveling the arch of the sky that rests on his own neck, and he watches it set in the west. He knows the movement of the constellations better than any astronomer. He feels the rotation of the zodiac through his fingertips. He is not just holding the sky, he is intimate with it. He feels the birth of new stars as a slight shift in balance. He feels the death of galaxies as a lightening of the load. Physiology becomes geology. His skin, exposed to the harsh winds of the upper atmosphere and the salt spray of the ocean, has hardened. It is thick, calloused, like the bark of an ancient redwood or the hide of a rhinoceros. Moss grows in the crevices of his shoulders. Birds nest in the tangle of his hair. He has become a micro-ecosystem. The sweat that rolls down his back forms rivulets that feed the moss, creating small, hanging gardens of pain. He does not brush them away. They are his only company. The roots of the plants dig into his pores, anchoring him further. He is turning into the mountain range that will one day bear his name, the Atlas Mountains. He is in the slow, agonizing process of becoming geography. There is a terrifying responsibility in his stance. If Sisyphus stops pushing, the rock rolls down, and he simply has to start again. It is a personal failure. But if Atlas surrenders, if his knee gives way, if his will fractures for even a second, the sky falls, the stars would crash into the oceans, the atmosphere would ignite, all life on the surface, the heroes, the villains, the lovers, the sleeping children, they would all be crushed in an instant. He carries them all. Every breath you take is a gift from Atlas. Every moment of peace you enjoy is bought with the burning of his tendons. He knows this. It is the only thing that keeps him upright. The terrible knowledge that he is the firewall between existence and oblivion. He is the guardian of the gap. He speaks to the stars in the silence of his mind. He feels the Pleiades, the seven sisters, dancing on his shoulder blade. He feels the weight of Orion's belt pressing against his neck. They are cold companions. They do not care about his pain. They simply burn. And yet, there is a relationship. He supports them. He gives them their high vantage point. Without him, they would be dust in the mud. There is a pride in this, a grim, silent pride. He is the foundation. The Olympians feast in their golden halls, drinking nectar and playing with the fates of mortals, but they float on a cloud that is held up by the sweat of a titan. He is the bedrock of their luxury. He knows this, and in the deep, dark vaults of his heart, he despises them, and he pities them. For they are light, and he is heavy, and heavy things last longer. The night deepens, the air grows cold, frost forms on his beard. The weight seems to increase as the sun travels to the underworld, leaving the cold vacuum of space to press down harder. But he does not waver. He breathes in, a slow, tectonic intake of air that expands his massive chest, and he breathes out. He resets his grip, he locks his knees, he settles into the eternity of the night. He is Atlas, he is the mountain, he is the wall that holds back the dark. And he will not move. Not today, not tomorrow, not ever. The stillness is his weapon, the endurance is his victory, and we watch him and we are grateful, and we leave him to his vigil. History passes beneath him. Civilizations rise from the dust, build their white cities, wage their wars, and crumble back into the sand. Atlas watches them all. He remembers the day the hero came, the son of Zeus, Heracles, the strong one. He came seeking the golden apples, but he offered a trade. He offered to take the weight, for a moment, just a moment. Atlas believed in release. He felt the weight shift. He felt the sky lift from his raw shoulders as the hero took the burden. The blood rushed back into his numbed limbs. He stood tall, stretching his spine, tasting the sweet air of freedom. He looked at the apples. He looked at the horizon. He thought the punishment was over. But hope is a dangerous thing in the land of the cursed. The trick was played. The weight was returned. The hero left, taking the apples, leaving the Titan broken. The return of the weight was worse than the initial punishment. It crushed the small, fragile thing that had bloomed in his chest. He learned then that there is no rescue. There is no substitution. The sky belongs to him. It is wedded to his bone structure. He stopped looking at the horizon after that. He stopped looking for heroes. He turned his gaze inward. He accepted that he is not a prisoner waiting for parole. He is the prison itself. The transformation accelerates. He is no longer just a titan. He is a geography. The storms that rage in the upper atmosphere lash against his face, but he does not blink. The lightning strikes his back, grounding itself through his massive legs into the earth. He is the lightning rod of the world. He absorbs the violence of the sky so the earth doesn't have to. His beard grows thick and tangled, becoming a forest of briar and pine. His skin cracks into ravines and canyons. Small creatures seek shelter in the lee of his arms. He is a protector, not out of love, but out of sheer massive presence. He protects them simply by being there, by enduring the storm. The pain changes frequency. It shifts from the sharp, tearing agony of muscle failure to the dull, grinding ache of geology. It is a deep, resonant thrum. It is the sound of tectonic plates rubbing together. He feels the vibrations of the Earth's core traveling up through his feet. He is connected to the magma. He is connected to the bedrock. He draws strength from the planet itself. Hold, the Earth whispers to him. Hold, the roots say as they wrap around his ankles. He is anchored. He is the bridge between the fluid air and the solid ground. He is the point of tension that holds the reality together. And then, the final visitor comes. Not a trickster this time, a mercy, Perseus, the rider of the wind. He carries a terrible gift in a sack of leather, the head of the Gorgon, Medusa, the power to turn flesh to stone. Atlas sees him, and for the first time in eons, the Titan speaks. His voice is the sound of an avalanche. He does not ask for water. He does not ask for news of the Olympians. He asks for the end. He asks for the stillness. Show me, he rumbles. Make me what I am. He craves the calcification. He craves the silence of the rock. He wants to stop feeling the burn of the stars. The sack is opened. The dead eyes of the Gorgon meet the tired eyes of the Titan, and the magic takes hold. It is not painful. It is a wave of cold comfort. It starts in the eyes, freezing the vision, stopping the constant tracking of the sun. It spreads to the throat, silencing the groan of exertion. It flows down the spine, fusing the vertebrae into a solid column of quartz and granite. The muscles, screaming for 1,000,000 years, suddenly go quiet. The tension evaporates. The lactic acid crystallizes into veins of gold and iron. The heart, that massive beating drum, slows and stops. It becomes the molten core of a mountain. He is gone, and he is everywhere. He is the range that spans the continent. He is the Atlas Mountains. The sky still rests on him, but he no longer feels it. The weight is still there, millions of tons of pressure, but stone does not suffer. Stone does not weep. He has achieved the ultimate endurance. He has outlasted the gods who punished him. Zeus is gone, the temples are ruins, the prayers have stopped, but the mountain remains. The mountain holds up the sky just as well as the Titan did. Better even. For the mountain never tires, the mountain never questions why. This is the peace of the mineral world. There is no blood to pump. There is no breath to catch. There is only being. The snow falls on his peaks, dressing him in white. The rivers flow from his weeping eyes, feeding the valleys below. He gives life to the land simply by standing still. He has become the environment. The punishment has been transmuted into purpose. He is the landmark. Sailors look to his peaks to navigate the ocean. Travelers look to his shadow to find the path. He guides them. He supports them. The cursed one has become the cornerstone. Sleep now. For the mountain is holding the sky. You do not need to carry the weight of the heavens. You do not need to hold up the roof of the world. Atlas has it. He has locked it into his stone bones. He has frozen the struggle into a permanent victory. The pressure you feel, the stress, the worry, give it to him. He can take it. He is vast. He is solid. He adds your burden to the weight of the stars, and he does not even flinch. He is the great grounder. He takes the electrical storm of anxiety and buries it in the deep earth. The Titan sleeps the sleep of stone, a sleep without dreams, a sleep without waking. He is the horizon line. He is the divider between the earth and the ether, and he is at rest. The wind howls around his peaks, but the center is silent. The world turns, but the mountain stands, be like the stone. Heavy, still, unmoved by the turning of the wheel. The story of the flesh ends here. The story of the rock begins, and in the rock, there is only silence. We leave the west. We leave the stillness of the stone Titan, and we drift across the world. We move east, past the Aegean, past the Black Sea, to the edge of the known world, to the Caucasus. Here, the mountains do not hold up the sky, they pierce it. The air is thin and sharp like broken glass. The wind howls through the ravines, singing a song of isolation. And here, chained to the highest, most desolate peak, we find the thief of fire. We find Prometheus. He is not holding a weight. He is the weight. He is bound to the rock, fused to the agony, waiting for the sun to rise. Before the rock there was the crime. Prometheus was a titan, but he did not fight with muscles, he fought with his mind. He looked down upon the mortals, the shivering, frightened creatures that the gods had made and abandoned. He saw them huddled in caves, afraid of the dark, afraid of the beasts, eating raw flesh, and his heart broke for them. He defied the king of Olympus. He climbed the sacred mountain, stealing a spark from the chariot of the sun, hiding it in a hollow fennel stalk. He brought the fire down. It was not just heat, it was consciousness, it was technology, it was hope. He gave them the tool to become masters of their world. And for this act of love, he was sentenced to an eternity of hate. Zeus does not forgive. The punishment had to be total. It had to be a monument to disobedience. He commanded Hephaestus, the smith god, to forge chains that could not be broken. Chains of adamantine. Chains that would outlast the mountains themselves. Hephaestus wept as he worked, for Prometheus was his kin, his friend. But the hammer fell, clang and clang and clang. The sound of the forge rang out like a funeral bell. The links were shaped, cold and heavy, designed to hold a god, designed to bite into the divine flesh and never let go. The mechanism of suffering was built with the precision of a master. They dragged him to the peak, the highest point, the place where the lightning strikes first. They pressed his back against the rough, freezing stone. The cold seeped into his skin instantly, numbing the nerves, shocking the breath from his lungs. And then came the binding. The shackles were hammered shut. The bolts were driven deep into the rock face, anchoring him to the geology. He did not struggle. He knew the prophecy. He knew the price of the fire. He looked into the eyes of his executioner, and he remained silent. The chains tightened. The metal bit into his wrists. He became part of the mountain, a fixture, a statue of living pain. And then they left him. The sound of their footsteps faded down the mountain path, leaving him to the wind. The silence of the high altitude is terrifying. It is a vacuum. There is no bird song here. There is no rustle of leaves. There is only the wind, tearing at his hair, drying his eyes, freezing his sweat. The sun beat down on him by day, burning his skin. The frost covered him by night, cracking his lips. He stands there, suspended between the earth and the sky. He is the bridge between the mortal suffering he tried to alleviate and the divine cruelty he tried to escape. He is alone, utterly, completely alone with his thoughts. But the weather is not the punishment. The solitude is not the torture. The true horror is the schedule. He knows the cycle. He has memorized the rotation of the sun. He watches the eastern horizon, waiting for the dawn. Most creatures welcome the sun, but for Prometheus, the sunrise is the signal. It is the opening bell of his agony. He sees the first light touching the peaks, painting the snow in shades of pink and gold, and his stomach tightens. His breath hitches. He knows who is coming. He knows the guest is on his way. The psychological weight of the anticipation is heavier than the chains. To know exactly what pain is coming, and to be unable to turn away. A shadow falls across the rock. It is a large shadow, vast and dark, blocking out the warmth of the morning. The sound of wings, heavy, leather wings beating against the thin air. It is the eagle of Zeus, Aethon. It is not a natural bird. It is a divine construct, a beast bred for a single purpose. It does not hunt for food, it hunts for duty. It circles once, a wide, lazy arc around the peak, checking its prisoner, checking the chains. Prometheus tracks it with his eyes. He does not scream. He does not beg. He simply braces his body against the rock, tensing the muscles of his abdomen, preparing for the arrival. The descent is sudden, the rush of wind, the impact of talons on stone. The bird lands on his chest, a heavy, suffocating weight. Its claws find purchase in the divine flesh. And then the beak, the tearing. It is a specific surgical violence. The eagle seeks the liver, the seat of emotion, the source of life. It tears at the organ day after day, with the mechanical precision of a clock. The pain is white-hot, blinding, surpassing the limits of mortal endurance. But he is not mortal. He cannot die. He cannot pass out. He must feel every tear, every strip, every moment of the violation. He stares up at the blue sky, his eyes wide, his jaw locked, enduring the unendurable. And then, it is done. The bird is full, the duty is discharged. It spreads its massive wings, washing the blood from its feathers in the cold wind, and takes flight. It disappears into the setting sun, leaving the Titan broken on the rock. The silence returns, the wind returns. Prometheus hangs there, hollowed out, exhausted beyond measure. The pain subsides into a dull, throbbing ache. The adrenaline fades, leaving only the cold. He watches the sun go down. He has survived another day, but there is no victory in this survival. There is only the dread of what comes next. For the night is not for sleeping. The night is for the horror of healing. This is the curse of immortality. If he were a man, he would have died on the first day. He would have found peace in the gray mists of Hades. But he is a Titan. His life force is infinite. And so, as the moon rises, the body begins to work. The flesh knits together, the veins reconnect, the liver, that destroyed, ravaged organ, grows back. It regenerates. The cells multiply in the dark, undoing the damage, erasing the evidence of the torture. It is a miracle of biology, but to him, it is a nightmare. He feels the itching, the burning, the unnatural speed of the recovery. He is being made whole again. He is being prepared. He is being reset just so he can be broken again tomorrow. The healing is the trap. The recovery is the lock. The night is long in the high peaks. The air is so cold it snaps the branches of the scrub pine and freezes the waterfalls into silent columns of ice. Prometheus hangs there, fully healed, waiting. This is the cruelty of the design. The body forgets the pain. The nerves reset. The mind tries to hold on to the memory of the agony to prepare itself, but the flesh is treacherous. It wants to live. It wants to be whole. And so, he is fresh. He is new. He is a blank canvas waiting for the artist's knife. He looks at the moon, silver and indifferent, and he envies it. The moon waxes and wanes, but it does not bleed. It has phases, but it does not have scars. He is jealous of the rock he is chained to. The rock erodes, but it does not feel. He is trapped in the biological imperative to survive, just so he can be destroyed again. Why does he not break? A lesser being would have shattered. The mind would have retreated into madness, hiding in the dark corners of insanity to escape the reality of the dawn. But Prometheus is a Titan of forethought. That is his name. Prometheus, forethinker. He knew this would happen. Before he stole the fire, before he climbed the mountain, he looked down the corridors of time and he saw this rock. He saw the eagle, he saw the chains, and he climbed anyway. He endures because the choice was his. He is not a victim of circumstance. He is a casualty of conviction. He holds the memory of the fire in his heart like a burning coal. He remembers the faces of the humans warming their hands. He remembers the light in their eyes. And that memory, that single spark of warmth, is the shield that keeps the madness at bay. The years stack up like layers of slate. Decades become centuries. Centuries become millennia. The chains rust and are renewed by the magic of the curse. The rock wears smooth under his back. He becomes the oldest thing in the world. He has watched the glaciers advance and retreat, grinding the valleys into new shapes. He has watched the forests march up the slopes and die back in the frost. He has watched civilizations rise in the valleys below, burning his fire, fighting their wars, and disappearing into the dust. He is the constant. He is the anchor. The suffering has ceased to be an event. It has become a state of being. It is the weather. It is the climate of his soul. He no longer waits for the eagle with fear. He waits for it with a grim familiarity. It is the only thing that touches him. There is a prophecy of release. They say that one day, the strongest of the mortals, the son of Zeus, will come. Heracles, he will climb the peak. He will draw his great bow, the wood creaking under the strain, and he will strike the eagle from the sky. The arrow will fly true. The chains will be shattered. The Titan will step off the rock, leaving the blood and the iron behind. But that day is not today, and it is not tomorrow. It is a distant speck on the horizon of time. Prometheus does not live for that day. He cannot afford to hope for the distant future. He must live in the eternal now. He must breathe this breath. He must endure this second. To hope is to look away from the rock, and the rock demands his full attention. The sky turns gray. The stars fade one by one, extinguished by the approaching sun. The air grows still, holding its breath for the morning. Prometheus closes his eyes. He does not fight the chains. He does not pull against the metal. He relaxes his body, muscle by muscle, tendon by tendon. He surrenders, not to the eagle, but to the rhythm. He accepts the dawn. He accepts the pain. He accepts the healing. He is the rock. He is the chain. He is the fire. He breathes in the cold morning air, filling his lungs with the sharp, biting frost, and he breathes out the night. The cycle turns, the wheel spins, and he is still here, broken and whole, bound and free. And now the story fades. The Titan is gone, the mountain is gone, the eagle has flown into the void. There is only the mist. There is only the heavy gray mist that rolls in from the edge of sleep. We leave the struggle behind. We leave the fire and the ice. We step off the mountain and we drift down into the quiet valley. The air here is thick. It is soft. It wraps around you like a heavy blanket of wool. There is no pain here. There is no waiting. There is no dawn to fear. There is only the eternal, comfortable twilight. The mind slows down. The thoughts stop racing. The narrative is finished. The book is closed. Your body is heavy. It feels like the stone. It feels ancient and solid and still. The weight of the day is gone. The chains of responsibility are loosened. You are sinking into the mattress, deeper and deeper. The gravity is a friend. It pulls you down into the dark. Your eyelids are heavy, like iron shutters closing against the light. They want to close. They want to seal out the world. Let them close. It is safe to rest. It is safe to let go. The muscles in your face relax. The jaw loosens, the shoulders drop. You are turning into stone, not the stone of punishment, but the stone of peace. The warm, sun-baked stone that sleeps in the bottom of the river. Listen to the silence. It is not empty. It is full of rest. It is a thick velvet silence that covers everything. The sound of my voice is drifting away, becoming part of the wind, becoming part of the background. You do not need to listen anymore. You do not need to understand the words. You only need to feel the rhythm, the slow, steady rhythm of your own breathing, in and out, like the tide, like the seasons, like the turning of the great wheel. There is nothing left to do. The tasks are finished. The battles are over. The fire is out, drifting deeper now, into the fog, into the gray. The world of shapes and colors is gone. There is only the feeling of warmth and the feeling of heaviness. You are floating in the void. It is a kind void, a soft void. It holds you up. You are weightless and yet grounded. You are everywhere and nowhere. The thinking mind has stopped. The dreaming mind is waking up. It is time to go to the place where the stories live. It is time to go to the place where the stone does not roll, and the sky does not crush, and the eagle does not fly. Sleep comes. It comes like a tide, rising up to cover the sand. It covers the footprints. It smooths the edges. It brings the quiet. You are safe. You are still. You are deep. The mountain stands guard. The ocean watches. The stars burn in the distance, but you are here, in the warm dark. Rest now, deep, deep. And so the tale is told, and the stone is still, and we rest.